Hey everybody, Lee here with a quick tip on using Photoshop to work with white ink workflow. So let's get started. I have a file open already and I have a selection made and I've selected all around this flower artwork here. And you can see that the little marching ants, the dotted line, don't include some of the areas here. And the reason for that is because they are less than full selection. The degrees of transparency, I guess, is the best way to describe it. So I have my selection already. I'm in my channels palette over here. And this is how we're going to work with white ink is in the channels palette. So if I come over here to this hamburger icon, the three lines, and I click on that, you're going to see that there's an option there for new spot channel. So when I come to new spot channel, here's the only difference between Onyx and Caldera. I typically work with Onyx, so I'm going to be calling this spot one. If you're working with Caldera, you can keep it at spot one with a little bit of a change inside the Caldera rip, or you can name it white and it will just automatically pick it up. Working in Onyx, I'm going to keep it as spot one. Now, the color here doesn't matter. This is strictly an on-screen preview, so what I always do is I choose a color that clashes with my artwork. My flower here is reds and oranges, so I've chosen a green so that it's really, really obvious, as you can see, what's going on. If I had chosen a red, it might be a little harder for me to visualize what's happening. All right, so I've chosen green here, and then my solidity on the other side, again, just a screen effect. If I set that at, let's say, 0%, you see it's just transparency, right? It allows more of that artwork to go through. If I go the other direction, make that 100%, now my white layer, or my white channel rather, is completely opaque. Does not make a difference with the final output. I usually keep this at 50% though. So now that I have that set, I'm going to hit OK. Now notice I haven't talked at all about underflood, overflood, spot, sandwich mode. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be created exactly the same way inside Photoshop. And then at the rip is where you're going to choose how it actually gets treated. If I go back to my channels palette over here, so I've got my master channel here, my RGB channel. If I turn that off, I can see this is my white. This is what I was talking about earlier. I have this really faint area here, which is just a little bit of white, a tint of white, rather than solid like it is on the inside here. And if I turn my RGB back on, I can turn my spot one on and off, and I can get kind of a preview of what's going on. Okay. Really, really important before you save the file that you make sure your channels are all back on. Otherwise, the rip might have some difficulty with it. So now that I've got that all set up, I can come over here, go to Save As. Okay. I'm going to save right over the top of this because I already have it. But the important thing here to remember is over here where it says spot colors, I need to make sure that that is turned on. That's how we save the white image data in with the file. So I'm saving it as a TIFF with my spot colors turned on. It's going to give you a message here. Yep, already exists. And then the only other thing that I do, I don't change anything on this side at all. The only other thing that I typically do with TIFFs is I save them with LZW compression. Both Onyx and Caldera and all of the Adobe design products work fine with LZW compressed TIFFs. And it makes my file smaller, which makes it quicker to push across the network. So I'll go ahead and hit OK. And at that point, my file is saved. I am ready to work with this file, whether it's just to print it as is, incorporate it into a larger design, whatever. But I am ready to go at that point. So I hope that's been helpful to you, and thanks for joining me.